This is the Carlton Podcast. Here's your host, Tony Moclair.
Hello and welcome to the official Carlton Podcast number 6 with me, Tony Moclair, and the great Mitch Robinson. How are you, Robbo?
I'm good, mate. Even better that we got a win on the weekend. Takes a little bit of pressure off our jobs because we can have a bit of fun now. So we've got a big guest in today.
We do.
Hey?
We do have a big guest.
Yeah, we do.
Are you kidding me? This is the Carlton Podcast. We always have a big guest.
We do. We try and get as many as we can because it's included as a player appearance. So the bigger the name, the better. So that's why we get them up here.
We don't need to peek behind the curtain. We get the big guest because we are the Carlton Podcast.
We're the most listened to in Australia in sporting. So
it is great to have won on the weekend against the Western Bulldogs and a man who played a hand in that great victory. I say great because coming off the run of games that we've just gone through, any victory is great. He is a man who, before moving to Australia to play AFL, was a promising Gaelic footballer at the Portlaoise Club, GAA club in Ireland. He was recruited to the Blues, a selection 73 in the 2010 AFL rookie draft. Halfway through his second season, he was promoted to Carlton Seniors list. He played his 50th game for the Blues during last year's round 21 clash against Richmond. What a great game. His first child, Flynn, was born earlier this year. His father, Noel, was a warder at the Portlaoise Maximum Security Prison for over 30 years. He's busted out and he joins us now.
Done some research.
It's a big Cade Media.
Come on down. This is your life.
To Zach Tuohy.
Jeez,
Thanks,
welcome.
guys. Thanks for having me.
How are you, Zach?
I'm very good.
That's the biggest pump up we've had so far.
He's a fella.
In 2 years in this, I've been 2 years
I didn't
involved.
even know most of them stats.
Jeez, you've done well, man.
He's a fellow Irishman. I was born in Cork.
Okay, so we talked about it before. You're claiming to be Irish now, so you've been a Guido Hatsis for the last 3 years, but now you're Irish today. So
yes, I'm a man of many identities. Just ask the tax office. Zach, how was it on Sunday against Western Bulldogs?
Yeah, it was obviously it was much better than we've been over the last few weeks. We've had a really tough start to the year and started to get the heat put on us, and to respond the way we did, I thought it was really good.
What was the difference?
I'm not sure. It's really hard to put your finger on, but we seem to kind of just scrap it out for longer and harder than we have done over the past couple of games. I think we were far more consistent right throughout the game. The consistency of effort was pretty evident. So look, we really, all that happened was we played how we know we can play, and we've kind of set a template now for how we want to carry on. So
just to set the record straight, was the same game plan and etc.?
Yeah, look, nothing changed. It was really basic stuff we did well that we hadn't been doing well. We hit a lot of our kicks and executed a lot better than we had done over the past couple of weeks. So, look, we haven't really changed anything at all. It's just we seemed switched on that day.
Mick talked about the G&D, the guts and determination.
Yep.
Was that, I guess, almost like letting go of the frustration of the week leading up to the game, which was quite intense. The scrutiny on the club was very intense. There was a lot of players being called
front
to
page,
account.
back page, media at the front of the club. It kind of takes its toll on the players, but. No, I wasn't playing, but looking on from the grandstand, it was amazing to see the boys bounce back, and I'm pretty sure there was put on Murph, and he took it a bit personally. I've heard, so I think the boys really stood up. You could see there's more aggression in the boys as well, and I guess he said taking their frustration out. It was what a way to do it, but. Hopefully it doesn't take four more losses to get another good win. So hopefully we can back it up this week.
Yes, exactly. That's what we want to see. Tell us why you weren't playing, Robbo.
Because I'm too good, man. No, that's a lie. No, because I said last week I hurt my knee before Essendon, and my hammy was compensating for my knee, which is kind of annoying. But it took longer than expected, and 2 weeks is out. But got through main training today, and hopefully back in the ones this week.
Now,
it's a good time to come in with a few injuries.
Yes, well, you visited the rooms after the game.
I did.
And?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a good mood down there. I had my little boy, Chancey boy, down there, so he came to his first game all kitted up in his big onesie, and it was a good. It might be good luck charm, I reckon. That's a 1 from 1, so he has to come this week. But no, the boys were all up and about, and why not?
Zach, Jared Waite reacted positively. He got the kick up the pants he needed.
Yeah.
Tell us about his kind of state of mind going into the game and how he was during and after it.
Look, he's very he's mentally quite tough anyway. He's had his adversity over the journey, and he probably got a kicking behind he needed, and he came out and he was certainly one of our best players on the ground, and himself and Lockie up front were just were a force on the night, and I'm not sure we would have looked as good as we did had it not been for some of their efforts.
I thought Lockie might go down back because Jammo was a later mission, wasn't he?
Yeah, not having Jammo was a big loss, but Whitey and Rowie come in. Rowie's been doing it for a while now. He fights to death every week. You know, someone I really like playing with. And then you have Whitey who can come in and he's just so physical and tough on anyone he plays on that it's kind of a luxury we have that we didn't have to really swing Lockie back this week. So it worked out really well for us.
Look, I'd kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. I thought he's on for a 9er.
Well,
and he would have been thinking that too, I reckon. He'd be like, oh, mate. I kicked 2 goals in one quarter a couple of years ago, and I thought I was going to have a field day. I didn't touch the ball for us again. But I still had a good first quarter.
Well, that's all that matters sometimes.
No, it was good to see, as you touched on Whitey, as watching from the stands, like the physicality looked like we lost a little bit. And Zach Tuohy came back and had a massive game on the weekend too. I told him that the other day. I'm not lying about this. It's good to see him, more physical and leading his man to the ball and stuff, and playing a bit more freer. So, it's good to see Whitey. Those Whitey and Rowie, they're kind of on the cusp. I reckon it's good to see them really standing up and taking their spot. So, I think Jamo might be back this week, but yeah, it's good for the selectors, I reckon.
Can I ask you, Zach, coming from GAO, Gaelic football, which is nowhere near as physical as the Australian game, yet you are a very physical player. That seems to come very naturally to you. How's that transformation been made?
I'm not really sure. You're right. It's certainly not as physical back home as it is here. It's just an aspect of the game I really enjoyed. There were a lot of things I needed to worry about when I got here with the dynamics of the game and the skills of the game. But that was one thing that, although I wasn't very used to, it was something I really enjoyed. And I think if you kind of enjoy it like that, it's kind of easy. Get used to it. So I'm not sure, but yeah, I just like.
He had the luxury of Mick used to say he's still learning the game, so he had that for a couple of years. So he got away with a fair bit, which is a little bit unfair, but I think that's put on to a couple of other Irish boys. A couple of new recruits.
Year, so
just pass the baton
on.
on.
Mistake I made for a year and a half.
He's still learning the game. He's had to crack, but he's still learning. You're right. He's from Ireland.
He's as they say in the old country, he's got a fair bit of cop on about him. This kid.
I do. What country is that?
Cop on. It's just common sense Ireland.
Oh,
the old sod.
Not
Greece. I'm not going to Hatzis now. Robbie Warnock's game that needs to be highlighted because
I don't think it does.
He did. Well,
he's been talking about it all day. That bloke
has he,
mate?
Well, look,
I've never seen someone up and about after a good win. Like I'm pretty up there. After a good game, but he didn't even train today. That's how good he is. Did his own thing, a few ruck taps here and there, did what he had to do, and he's that's Rob Warnock.
Yeah. Has he? I mean. That would be a huge confidence-building game for Robbie.
It would. Look, he played fantastic, obviously, on an All-Australian ruckman in Will Minson. I think he really came out on top, and it was probably one of his best games for the club. So for him to give most of our middies first use it went a long way to winning the game because there's only so much kind of scrapping the middies can do. Sometimes they need to put down their neck, and he certainly did that.
Yeah, and his kicking was great.
He said, bring the soothers because he's going to put them down your throat.
Great.
But the best thing is, that's what he told me, actually. So I didn't make that. He had 7 clearances as well. So, he was not just tapping it down, he was grabbing out the ruck and kicking it, which is kind of, it really annoys the midfielders when that happens. So he did a really good job in that department.
That's no mean effort for a guy who's, 6'8"?
6'9", 6'10".
Yeah. There you go. Mark Murphy, Zach, on the day, did he address the playing group? I guess he normally does before a game, but how keyed up was Murph to I guess really put some weight behind the hashtag United that was the club was running with before the game?
Yeah, Murph's he's a very proud player. He doesn't take criticism kind of lying down, and he was pretty geared up before the game, and look, he could have said nothing and gone out and played the way he did. It would have been enough. But look, he lifts all the guys around him. We know how hard he works. We know how good a leader he is. And, I think that's just a sign of things to come from Murph. So we're pretty fortunate to have him.
What was your thoughts, speaking of captains or ex-captains of the club, when Juddy got injured?
Yeah, well, I actually didn't realise. I did see the incident, but I didn't realise he pulled up that sore from it. And look, I mean, I don't need to tell anybody how good a player Chris Judd is. But look, he's a big loss. We've gone the first couple of weeks without him, but I was pretty sure we're going to have him back for a while, and I think everybody was getting excited. But he'll get back. If there's any player can get back as soon as possible, he will. Yeah. So
I never heard a bigger roar of someone come on the ground.
Yeah.
Crammy would have been loving it because he just kicked the goal. He would have thought this crowd is going crazy. I kicked a shag. Juddy was running on the ground at the same time. But saying that, he's there's been a bit of media shift onto him again, and I think it's a bit unfair as the last few weeks have been. But this same thing happened to Kane Lucas a couple of years ago when he got pushed in the back, and his was actually a worse tear. It was about 5 to 6 weeks or 12 weeks in the end. But Juddy was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think he was a bit excited. He got the 1, 2, 3, 4, then got pushed at the wrong time, and
it wasn't anything.
It wasn't because he's unconditioned or anything.
Any player.
Yeah,
his hamstring was pushed to a position that most people's hamstrings just can't tolerate. So
Do we need to be careful with him? He is a bit of an antique.
Mate, I don't know if you've seen him with the shirt off. He's a little bit hairy, but he's
in good shape. So Rebecca's happy.
He's looking good. 31, 32.
Yeah,
mate, I'll be laughing at him like that at that age. Because
okay.
I saw Scotto today. He's starting to lose a little bit. So.
Oh, well, come on! I mean, you let yourself
Big
go after a certain age.
Yeah, sloppy Scotland at the moment.
Yeah,
but he's a good bloke though.
Ed Curnow.
No, he's not.
How's Ed going? Yeah, you've seen him around the club,
yeah,
Robbo.
I've seen him a couple of times. I didn't really notice that happen because after the incident, he's such a tough bugger that he tried to run and get back in the zone. I was thinking, it must just be bruised rib or winded or something. But then he came jogging off and a little bit helped off, and we found after the game that I think it was a fractured tibia or something like that. So I think it's a 6-week injury, which is a really bad thing because Kernow's probably one of the only blokes that have been stepped up in the past 5 games, and he's been relishing his role as a tagger, and he gets off the leash as well and gets around 30 touches. So I think it's a bit of a downer, but knowing him personally, I think he'll come back hungrier than ever.
Tommy Bell, scans have revealed that he's got a fractured finger on his right hand. How's he? Have you seen him around the club at all?
Yeah, I spoke to him after the game, and he was a little bit sore. I think he's another good example of how we had to really scrap out the game because he came on and played really well late in the game as well, and he's another player who I didn't realise was carrying that knock, and I think that speaks kind of volumes about his character. But he had the scan, and as far as I know, he's fractured his finger, and he's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks. So he's a big loss, but you probably chuck him in the same boat as Curnow and Judman, who are going to they're kind of consummate professionals, and if they can get back any sooner than they've been quoted, they will. But it's a big loss. But
his finger looked busted up. It looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
And for him to come back on as well, like I think he tried to get in a fight with someone after they hit Kane Lucas in the head, and he tried to go for the 1-2, but remember that he had a sore hand, so he kind of pushed him off and then got slapped. It was pretty funny, but he's a tough bugger.
So now, Robbo, that's 3, injuries to important players. How are you looking then to get back into the team next week?
Well, 3 blokes out. Hopefully, get a little bit of a sniff. But
no, but in terms of physically, how are you? Are you ready to present?
Yeah, I'm ready to come back in. It's been a tough 2 weeks being out, and the team hasn't been getting the wins. And I was in the team when they got their first 3 losses, so for them to get a win on the weekend was pretty good. Did
Robbo on the stands make a difference to you guys?
I reckon
Zach?
I did.
I reckon it might have.
I think they could feel me watching. If Robbo's watching this game, I need to I told Tuohy, mate, we need the old Tuohy back.
Yeah.
Came out and dominated.
Yeah.
So this week.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Jemison. Was the first thing I thought. Was the first win we get was when Jemison's in the stands. Now he's a very good player, but he's a seriously ordinary bloke. So I'm putting it down to
Is
that.
this Gemma or me?
Jemison.
Oh yeah,
he's you're a great fella.
No, he's a great player.
You don't expect that sort of, because he's made references to you. Some of them uncomplimentary on this podcast.
Yeah.
It depresses me how somebody with a good Irish surname like that doesn't, get in behind a fellow Irishman.
It's all referred. He takes his own flaws and puts them onto other people.
Yeah.
It's actually him that suffers terribly from BO.
Right, there we go.
He just
He
accuses
does.
other people.
He does.
He accuses other people.
He goes Gibber than him.
Right, really?
Gibber's stinker, man.
Okay, so he works up to sweat reading those books, does he?
Yeah,
that's what he does.
He had laser eye surgery too. He doesn't like glasses, so you should be offended by that as well.
As a long-term fan of eyewear, yes, I am.
Yep.
Anybody who doesn't like monocles is not a friend of mine. Next week, players to look out for: Dean Cox, Nick Naganui, Josh Kennedy, Jack Darling. How do we neutralise them? And because there's already been a bit of trash talk, Zach Tuohy from West Coast.
I know he didn't.
Yeah, there has been a little bit, but that's the nature of the game, and I think they were pretty cut up about losing to Port Adelaide over there, as we are about losing every game we lose. But look, like I said already, we'll go into it with the same mindset we had for the doggies. We certainly believe that we play like we did at the weekend. We're more than a match for anybody, so it's going to be a very tough game. They've got a lot of match winners, but we think we can kind of nullify them, those players, and get the win. But it's going to be a tough game.
Who will line up on Luke Shuey and Matt Rosa?
We've got a couple of things up our sleeve to nullify them, but as you said, they got Dean Cox and Nick Natanui. We know they a little bit underdone with their pre-season and stuff, so we plan on trying to run around the ground a little bit more. And as you said, Jack Darling and Josh Kennedy, they've been pretty good targets up forward, but it's just the whole back is a strong 6, and one of them working together. So it's third man up and trying to get in front of the leading space is probably one of the keys.
How does Robbie feel about the Dean Cox challenge?
Oh, he loves it, mate.
Yeah.
At the minute, I'm pretty sure he reckons he could take
He
on
reckons.
anyone. So.
He reckons they'll be talking about Rob Warnock at the moment. So.
Yeah, no confidence problems there.
Well, good. Now, as I mentioned, the trash talk. Jack Darling. He's been quoted on the Eagles website as saying another loss at the hands of what the club's reporter has referred to as the struggling Blues would be a kick in the guts. It's a sort of game where we should get the job done. Obviously, we're going to be a bit sour about the Port defeat, as you said, Zach, and we'll come out really hard. Is that, as a tactic, I mean, that's obvious, that's a shot across the bow. It's the club knows that sort of comment is out there. It's a part of a psychological war, which is part and parcel of football. Does it more often than not backfire, though, when you guys hear that sort of talk?
I think, if their mind's thinking that we're not as going as good as we are, we know we can play good footy, and the results that we've had so far hasn't really shown, how much good footy we have played. We played well against Port and against Richmond, terrible against Melbourne and Essendon, but, we've played patches where we're really good, so we know what their good aspects of their game is, and we know what ours is, and, we see ourselves getting on top, and we just got to, win those clearances, in-type balls, win some contested footy and stuff. They can say what they want, but we know we come out with the same mindset as last week, and we're going to be a good show.
Can we, we'll seize the moral high ground here, Zach, and you can now have the opportunity to say something really kind.
Did you see how professional I was this then?
Robbo, you are nothing but professional.
I need
to pump up, man, because I had all these things written down here to say about Jack Darling, but then I thought, you know what? Bigger man. Okay,
well, that's one half of the moral high ground. Zach, do you want to claim the other half?
Oh, God, look.
Tell us what you really think, Zach.
I'd much rather go into every game with the opposition probably thinking we're the underdog and thinking that they should beat us. I think it's a very dangerous position to put yourself in, is that kind of mindset where you think, well, we should get over this mob. So that suits me down to the ground. I imagine it suits the rest of the players down to the ground. I quite like that position. I think when you've got nothing to lose or when the opposition doesn't rate you like that, I think
prove someone wrong.
Can happen, yeah. So.
We touched on it briefly because it was the story last week, certainly that we covered it off in the podcast, but there was so much chatter about where Carlton were. It's taken one win to silence everybody. What will 2 wins in a row do?
Oh, probably put us up as flag favourites. They change their minds every week.
Paying $1.50 for the grand final, I reckon.
Look, like Robbo said already, there's a couple of games we could have won. We fell away in the last quarter against Port Adelaide. Could have gotten over Richmond. They hung in there, and look, very disappointing against Essendon, and we actually played pretty good footy against Melbourne. Just couldn't put it on the scoreboard. So, look, I don't think we're as bad as people say we are, and I think our best will beat a lot of teams. So we just need to, perform consistently, which we think we can. So.
He speaks well, doesn't he?
He does. Well, it's the Irish public education system.
I'm sober.
This
is one of those times I'm sober.
Yeah. We've got you the right side of beer
He's
o'clock.
Got a coffee, he's all right.
Yeah. Now, you're both fathers. Speaking of form, there's a long-standing, Robbo, the long-standing, I guess, belief that becoming a father can affect form. The fact that you have become a father has put you in the stands.
Yeah, no, I couldn't get a touch when I didn't have a kid, and I can't get a touch now. So,
how is fatherhood treating you? I'll get to you in a minute, Zach, because I certainly want to know about Flynn. But how's Chance's first couple of months in the world been, and how are you going as a father?
Yeah, well, he's 3 weeks old, so...
I'm rounding up the month and then just kind of adding on a bit of GST, so don't be picky.
He's flying at the moment. He's doing really well. Not too many sleepless nights, but it gets moments where he's a bit squirmy and stuff where I can't do as much, so I have to kind of give him to the mum for breastfeeding. But other than that, I'm pretty good with him. Just when I get home, it's kind of my time to bond with him and bathe him and, that one-on-one, look into his eyes and tell him I love him and stuff. But
yeah. Well, the rate that he's Scotland has let his body go, he could let himself out as maybe a wet nurse, couldn't he?
He likes to wet. I think he likes more babies around the club, so he gets to wet the head more often. So that's where he's at the moment. He's going well. And
how are you going, Zach? How's fatherhood? What changes has that made to your life, to your perspective on things?
Yeah, look, it hasn't changed too much my perspective. I've always kind of put family first, but it's nice to have a little fella to go home to. Gives you, something to look forward to going home, and it gives you a really good reason to leave as well, because I'm pretty lucky the missus does most of the parenting. Yeah. So I go home, take him for 20 minutes, and then jump on the Xbox. So it's
what?
Yeah. Nah, look, he's really good. He's kind of he's your whole world wrapped up in a little ball. So it's pretty nice to have that.
Is he paying the bills yet?
Nah, you're real selfish.
They don't give back much, do they?
No,
now I know what my dad was saying all that time.
No, they don't turn a profit until, let's say, 8 or 9, when you can send them down a coal mine in WA. There's some that
Is
have
that where you're going for?
there's
What
some
are you going for a sport? Golf? Cricket? What?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to be that dad, though.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
of
push
course.
him to-
Young
I'm going to live
guy.
my dreams through him.
You're going to go this weekend, eh? Oh, okay, that's funny. Well, you're not going to have a house to come home to, mate.
You've already got a bunch of dad lines ready to go.
I got my dad jokes all lined up.
Wow, good work.
Yeah.
You are a golf fan, aren't you, Zach? Did I get that right?
I used to play a little bit growing up, but kind of
He's
fell
terrible.
away from it a lot.
No, exactly. So what has
Hang on,
surprised you about...
so he's got he's Australian citizen, isn't
Where's
he?
this going? Yes, Mitch.
Yeah.
He's both.
Are you?
He gets both.
Do you just have your working visa?
Yeah, pretty much.
How long does that go
Residency.
for? Okay, so you're a resident now.
Yeah.
There's no... So if you're having a blinder, there's no way immigration will come on halfway through a third quarter and pull you off.
God, if they could have done that in the first 4 weeks, we'd have been all right. Couldn't get out of there quick enough. Nah, the little fella's, he's laughing because when he's older, he's going to get dual citizenship.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
going to be
pretty good.
awesome for him.
Because it's an EU passport, Robbo.
Yeah.
Back and forth. Is that
Yeah.
England as well? So
That's
like
the
all-
whole kit and caboodle.
Oh,
If you
look
want
out.
How good is
if
that?
you want to go and lounge on a beach in Latvia, I'm not sure they're part of the EU.
No, I don't.
No, Greece, they are. They are. We've heard
Yeah,
from
because I
very good
often want to
source
go.
they
I wanted to go Latvia all the time.
Hardly a day goes
That's
by.
on my
people
top.
don't
Yeah,
mention
I just
Latvia, do they?
Latvia is a really good place to go.
Yes. Well, it is, virtually nowhere you can't go in the,
So
Yeah,
he's
damn,
going to
just
be.
used to be a Latvia.
Yeah, he's going to be laughing when he's older. He's going to be wrapped in that.
So we have Flynn. Flynn is how old?
Flynn is 3.5 months now.
Okay, so it's a bit
Yeah.
early in both cases.
He's a big
to
boy.
Start talking about.
He's a
pig
big
of
boy.
child,
How big are we talking?
Like he's big.
Oh, well, he was like nearly just under 9 pounds when he was born, but I don't know what he is now.
Holy hell!
Nah, he's massive.
Oh.
He's completely.
I
let
put
himself
he
go.
came around. His lovely partner came around to the house
Yeah.
with Flynn, and he just looked like he was going to eat him. He's
You-
a beast.
he is
Like
a
he's
beast.
going to be.
He
He's
is
going to
a-
be a big boy.
Because chance was £9. You need to re-stump your place.
No, he's £9.8. Mum's £9.8 because I'm big boy.
Yeah.
He came out and he's already put back on his birth weight already. So
Oh my
the
God.
nurses and that are pretty happy with him.
Pulling it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and it's too early to ask, obviously, but I'm going to. Any plans of any more, hopefully?
Oh man, I'm not even sure I want this one.
He goes, is there a warranty you take back on this thing? Just stuff it back up.
Nah, not yet.
All right,
I want
just try
five.
not break
So I
this
got
one.
4 more. If you want to leave Flynn in my house every now and then, I want
Don't
4.
tempt me.
Well, you see, you're not, conforming to the Irish stereotype and having the big family there.
No, I'm not.
I think they're called
And
gypsies.
Don't give my missus any ideas.
No, not gypsies. They're tinkers in Ireland.
No, the gypsies, aren't
The travelling people, as they say. That's what they're called. The knackers. The tinkers.
they? Okay. You could
The itinerates.
Do you like the Brad Pitt one? What's the Brad Pitt movie?
Do you like dags? Snatch.
Snatch.
Yeah,
Great flick.
great accent work by the great man there. Now,
Okay, what else we got? What else we
We
got?
have the quiz. We do what basically happens here, Zach, is we ping you with questions, and it is your job to identify the player in this award-winning segment we call "Do You Know Your Teammates?" Mitch Robinson and Zach Tuohy.
Okay.
And just to be sure, I haven't won one yet. It's been kind of hard because I've been here and haven't been here. But I'm
Robert,
looking for a win
could
today.
you just, for my sake, just say that again, but just say just to be sure, to be sure.
Just to be sure,
There we go.
Do you get it?
Yeah, he's been
Funny.
Yeah.
Irish again.
I'm
Oh,
really-
is
I'm
it?
being-
Oh,
being
because they
honest.
repeat
All right.
themselves. Oh,
There we go, yeah. All right, here we go. Are you ready for this, Zach?
Yes,
You've warmed up
shoot.
now? Okay. First clue. I made my debut for the Blues during their round 1 clash against Richmond in 2010. Which one of your teammates debuted in round 1 2010?
Would have been.
next
All right,
question.
I'll go to the next
Yeah,
clue.
go back and-
I was prized from the grip of the Melbourne Football Club by the Blues in the highest profile
Brock McLean.
deal.
Robert Clean?
No, it's not Brock McLean.
Come on, man.
No.
How exciting.
Trade week in 2008, so we know it wasn't Sean Charles. Before being drafted by my previous club, I played for the Sandringham Dragons. Any bells going
Not
on
Johnson.
there? Any bells?
Who's Johnson?
No.
He doesn't
No.
play anymore.
All right. Clue number 4. After being drafted by the Blues, I was struck down by a stress fracture in my foot during the pre-season. Clock's ticking.
He came from Melbourne, you reckon?
Well, no, we got him from Melbourne before he could play there.
This is ridiculous.
How many questions do
Okay,
you have?
this one will probably give it away, Zach Tuohy. I am 206 centimetres
Rob Warnock.
tall. There we go.
I got one!
Yeah, Robbo!
Slap me.
Hey, you have finally, after 4 weeks, posted
You
a
don't
win.
know. That's like actually a real celebrate. I was happy just then. Oh, that's want to thank my sponsors: Kamikaze Kid,
Yeah,
Nike,
there it is.
Hyundai.
Okay, I'm not allowed to pronounce the name of the major sponsor because I can never get it right, Zach. The sixth clue there was Carlton coach Mick Malthouse commented that my performance during Sunday's win against the Western Bulldogs was the best he'd ever seen me play. And that would be seconded by a lot of Blue supporters. Zach, thank you so much for coming in. It was a pleasure to have you on the podcast. Hopefully the first of many appearances.
Yep.
Shlán agus Panach. That was Gaelic.
You can speak Gaelic.
My mum can. I picked up a few words here and there.
We need Satano Halpin because he can speak that pretty well. He can speak 3 languages, that bloke.
What's the other one? Fijian?
Rotuman. Oh, yeah. No, Rotuman, English and
Can you
Irish.
speak that?
Yeah, he can speak both. It's
There
awesome.
you go.
Fair play.
Anyway,
Zach,
thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure.
And good luck against West Coast.
Yep.
Robert, good luck against West Coast.
Yeah.
Certainly hope you pick for the team and that you play a blinder.
Thanks.
And that Carlton wins
Thank you.
and we shut everyone the hell up.
Thank you, I appreciate it. It was a good one, guys. Good luck.
No worries. This has been the Carlton Podcast. Mitch Robinson, our guest, Zach Tuohy, and I have been, and probably will be next week, Tony Moclair. Thanks for your time.